And welcome to this edition of Midwest Motorsports Review. I'm your host, Darrell Franklin. On Friday night, April 26th, at the Hawkeye Down Speedway in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, it's the 2002 season opener for the Mid-American Stock Car Series. Recently, Dave Camhill spent some time at Oak Creek Automotive with the top 6 point finishers in last season's events. So let's go with Dave right now.
We're here with Sean Utpaul, driver of the number 2 Culver's Ford Thunderbird down at Lake Geneva Raceway. Sean, you've been down there for a few years now, doing a really good job in that Thunderbird. Now I understand the next year you're going to be moving up a notch, going to be running that Mid-American Series.
Yeah, we're going to give it a try and try and run with the fast guys, learn a lot. I think you learn a lot traveling different tracks. And every time they come down to your local track, they seem to be the guys to beat. And there's a reason for it, and you learn different things about different cars and trying to adjust to different conditions on track. It's going to make a better driver out of you, I think. Yeah,
and definitely now you're going to be traveling as well. You're not going to have to worry about one setup for one night. It's going to be kind of difficult traveling to tracks like Rockford, Elko, looking at Francis Creek, all just tough tracks. How are you going to be able to make that adjustment, you think?
Well, talk to guys like Bobby and Speedy, and they're always willing to give you at least some ideas, get you close. So we rely on that quite a bit.
Sure. Now, as you go for those helpful hints, do you have to kind of be careful who you're listening to?
Well, you don't want too much advice from too many different people. You stick with the guys that you trust, and like I said, those guys, they'll point you in the right direction.
That's good. Now, first race event going to be down at Rockford Speedway, that real tough quarter-mile high bank down there. They call it Reckford?
Yeah, actually, that's not going to be the first event, I guess. It's the first one is Friday night at Cedar Rapids.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's half mile. It's a nice place.
Yeah, it's a big track, too. Now, do you have any experience on the big track?
Yeah, a little bit at La Crosse. Ran there a couple years. Did pretty decent. Got to run a few laps at Milwaukee, but it'll be different.
Now, you mentioned that Milwaukee event. I understand you had problems up there.
Yeah, something broke in the motor, rod broke in half or something, and just took us out of it.
Definitely had to be disappointing for you for the opportunity to race at the famed Milwaukee Mile and then to run into problems. Kind of disappointing for you?
Oh, yeah, that was a big disappointment. We had a lot of people out there support us. Had about 200 people in the stands, T-shirts everywhere, and yeah, it was a pretty big disappointment, but we had a lot of fun anyways.
Now, is that race going to be on the schedule for this upcoming year?
It's tentative right now, but I'm not sure if it's going to go or not because they're doing some work on the track with a tunnel between turn 3 and 4.
Well, that's going to be really a thrill if you can get back there again, hopefully improve on that performance. Now, this last year down at Lake Geneva, you had a great season, just fantastic.
Yeah, it was a pretty good season with a couple fast times, a couple wins. Started out kind of slow, as you've seen. You gave me the nickname Air Utpaul there. Got off the track a little bit, but too many DNFs, but, we'll work on them.
But that's okay. Now, where'd you finish in the points down there?
Tied for 4th with Zach.
With Zach Derringer. Now,
yeah.
Zach, he's a tough competitor. And as I talked to Terry about, there's a lot of tough guys racing down there week in and week out. Do you have one particular guy that you look at down there and say, man, I got to run fast, run good, and I got to run with this guy to be a champion?
I think the most consistent guy they got down there, and he's struggled a little bit, is probably Brian Baker. We ran one feature side by side for 20 laps, and that was probably the funnest race I've ever been in.
That's great. It's nice when you run next to a guy lap after lap like that and not have to worry about him taking you out and him not having to worry about you taking him out. It's a friendship thing. Have you developed a lot of friends in the racing now?
Yeah, it's not about just going to racing. You like to meet new people and get along with them, of course. That's always helpful. Sometimes you can't get along with everybody, but that's racing. It's a lot of good guys at Geneva, though.
Yeah, that's really great, and I think the emphasis is supposed to be fun, and that's why we all got into this. Where did you get your start in racing?
Well, I used to watch my uncle growing up racing out of Hales, and then when I turned 18, I bought a Hales Wales and ran that for a couple years and took off a couple years, and then bought a Sportsman, ran that, took off another couple years, and started putting together another car here down at Bobby's shop and put that one on the back burner and bought another car and just got back into it a couple years ago.
Sure. Now, you're running one of the few Ford Thunderbirds out there that are left anymore.
Dinosaur.
You gonna stick with that Ford?
Yeah, we still got the same body this year. A little different paint scheme, but same body.
And you've got that great sponsor in Culver's as well as Noreen's, I believe?
Yeah, we got Culver's from a bunch of Culver's. Picked a few more Culver's up this year, in fact. And Noreen's on Oakwood and Oak Creek Automotive and 9th Avenue Auto Body. There's a ton of them. Just a lot of help this year.
Now the help that you get from those great sponsors, that's really got to mean a lot to you, as well as it does to them to see it perform well. Without them, I'm sure you wouldn't be able to do it. And those guys in the pit area.
Yeah, the crew, they put in a lot of time in the car, and they keep it going, and you know, it's always hats off to them guys for volunteering their time. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. You know, I couldn't do it all by myself. Nobody could.
Right, exactly. And it's just gotten so tough now. Now, you had mentioned that you started on dirt as well. What made you just make the decision to switch from that dirt to the asphalt?
I liked the Mid-American Series. I liked the way it was going, the direction. It was clean racing. The cars look nice. You get to travel different tracks, and I think racing on dirt, it kind of limited you to pretty much your local track, maybe 1 or 2 tracks, and that's about all you're going to get to do in the sportsman class.
Now you're looking to move on, be a rookie in the Mid-American Sportsman Series. Any track that you're a little concerned about going to?
Probably that little thing they call 141. That's a tight little track, and I had a little bit of problems up there the first time I ever raced on asphalt, but I think we'll be all right as long as we can make the feature and just stay out of trouble.
And that's going to be really the key for you this year, isn't it? Is to make the feature and not have to rely on coming through the gong show, the last chance race.
Yeah. There's only probably the Rockford and 141 are probably the only tracks I'm concerned about. You know, the 3rd mile tracks and the half-mile tracks were pretty decent on them so far. So.
Now you're going to have 3 events, I believe, down at Lake Geneva this year, so those should look pretty good for you.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to those because that's probably our best shot at running towards the front.
Unfortunately, though, you're going to have to race with Brian Baker and those guys who are normally down there.
Yeah, well, Brian always runs tough, but every time these guys come down, they're usually the ones at the front, these Mid-Am guys.
Now, where are you looking to go with your career?
I'm pretty happy with this. Maybe get into a late model and do some traveling with a late model, but you know, I don't have no big aspirations to go in Winston Cup or something like that. You know, just keep it realistic and have fun, and you got to race within your means. And
that's right.
That's my means right now is Mid-American, maybe a late model someday.
And as long as you're having fun, that's the important part.
That's the key.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you hang out at the track all the time. I see you quite a bit up there. You got any really great stories about Bobby Gutnick?
Well, maybe they didn't come from the racetrack, but
Well, we'll put Bobby on the spot later.
yeah.
Right. It's great that you know, you're looking to move up. You know, move up that notch in your program, continue on. And you know, it's super late model. Now that's going to be a big step up to to put yourself on 10-inch tires, put yourself in a full fab frame. Excuse me, and. You think you'd be able to make that adjustment as well as you have into the asphalt?
I think we could make it if we had the right people helping us that know about it. Because if you just go into it with, you know, blinders on, I don't think you'd be very successful at it. But if you find the right person that knows more about them and is willing to put the time in, I think the transition would be reasonable to make.
Now that transition is easy to make, but it's difficult to make. You're going to make the first transition, the first step this year with the Mid-Am rookie deal. Should be pretty good for you. Thinking about eventually making that step up. Transitions are very hard to make in racing, and you've alluded to the fact that as long as you have the right people, what qualities make the right people on the right team?
Guys with dedication, you know, of course, a good group that gets along and, you know, they're not always bickering about something. Experience is probably the biggest key as far as I'm concerned. Somebody who knows, understands chassis, you know, like Terry said, it's not you don't just get in a car and race it around. I mean, there's a lot of thought that goes into making that car turn.
Now the Mid-American Sportsman car is quite a bit different than a late model. Primarily, what are the differences?
Well, like you said, a tube chassis, all stock suspension parts. It's, you know, several inches or a few inches higher off the ground. It's smaller tires, less horsepower. It's heavier. You know, like Jeff Storm says, late model stops and it turns. These cars just don't seem to want to do that.
Well, I'll tell you, Sean, we are really looking forward to seeing you next year in this Mid-Am rookie deal. Hopefully everything will work out well for you. And I know we look forward to seeing you back at Lake Geneva. We wish you the best of luck.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I really called you Nick Lackowitz because I don't have a memory at all. But I drive the 05 Pontiac Grand Prix, the Cardinal Fabricating Machine. And I'll tell you what, you had a great season this year, finishing 6th in the Mid-Am Series.
Yeah, it was very surprising, actually. Came out last year as my first year, or not last year, year before as my rookie year, coming from dirt going to asphalt. And it was a big change, and come out last year and compete with everybody that's in the series. You know, everybody that was in top 5 ahead of me. and run with them once in a while was just unbelievable.
And you clipped off a really big win right there at the end of the year.
Yeah, that felt good. Very frustrating year, blowing a couple engines and running very well, but not in, to come across a win. But Lake Geneva, that was the cake. I mean, it was made up for the whole entire year and year before.
Yeah, at the Fall Classic too, and there's 40-odd drivers down all competing for that event. And you got out front, and you looked really good all day. And I saw the expression on your face when you got out of that car.
Oh yeah, it was my first feature win in racing ever, and it was, couldn't explain it. It was just heartbreaking. It was made my dad happy, made everybody happy.
Now you said you started on dirt as well, huh? Where at?
I raced at Chilton and in Plymouth, and it was Chilton Grand National in Plymouth as a super stock car.
Now what made you make that decision to switch to the asphalt?
My dad, my sponsors, dirt's for farming. No, it was, we wanted to move on, and dirt, it really isn't, you're not going to go anywhere.
I feel
Too
kind
fast.
of limited.
Yeah, you really do.
So now you select the Mid-American Series to go and compete in. Now what was it about that series that made you really look at that and say, hey, this is where I need to be?
I guess it was kind of a similar type of car as the Grand National car on dirt. We looked at different options and talked to Brad Miller, and he said probably the best way would go this way, and it would be the cheapest, like, for money, financial-wise, and it was, and we're having a great time doing it.
Sure. Now JJ's been around forever, and he's always been there to give out advice,
Oh yeah.
wanted or unwanted. Now, not only did he help you select, that Mid-Am Series, kind of steer you in that direction, but has he given you any other advice?
Oh yeah, he helps me out. His shop is only 2 miles from mine, so we always get together and talk about racing and stuff, and he helps me out with setups once in a while and stuff. But that's all late model. He doesn't know too much about the Mid-Am cars, and I come down and I just talk to everybody who runs the series. They pretty much give me a hand.
Sure. Now, who's helping you out down there?
In the
series? Yeah, in the series.
Pretty much everybody that runs the series regular. Everybody's in the top 5. It doesn't, everybody, you go up and talk to pretty much anybody. It's kind of like a family. They get along and help each other out.
Well, that's good. That's really great because, as long as we're all getting along and having fun, that's what it's all about. Now, you had some problems early in the year, didn't you? Just a couple mechanical problems?
Yeah, I blew an engine, and which kind of set me back, and I had to throw my spare in, and then that blew, and it wasn't running very well with the spare because it was a pretty weak engine. But otherwise I didn't wreck too much. Just had a couple of fender benders, a couple of rims, but it was all right.
Well, that's the key, is really keeping it on the track, and it seems like you did a pretty good job of that all year, and that probably is what resulted in your points finish in the Mid-Am Series this year.
Yeah, it turned out good. I guess it's consistency, and everybody that runs a series runs pretty clean. They don't wreck too often, and the only way you're going to be anywhere is if you finish a race.
That's right. Consistency is really important. Now, if you had one dream, what would it be in racing?
To beat everybody that runs a series. Run the championship? No, I don't know.
Well, now next year you got to beat 5 guys at least, right?
Yeah, it's tough too. Just to have fun and just keep going, see where it takes me. I guess. Obviously, everybody's dream is to run NASCAR, but that's a pretty long shot. But just to have fun and not get sick of it.
Now, when you were up there on the dirt at Chilton, did you learn a lot of things that you're being able to transfer on to racing on the asphalt?
Yeah, you can tell when a car kicks off underneath you and be able to recover it. Yeah, with driving, I guess. Up there they drove kind of like maniacs once in a while, and got to dodge a lot of bullets, and it makes it quicker. I guess reflexes, it got me a lot better in reflexes.
Now you're just aware of what's going on around you a little more. You mentioned the feel, the seat feel.
Yeah, yeah. I guess because in a Grand National car, there's no mirrors or anything, and no spotters, so you really got to look around and pay attention. Now with going to Mid-Am, you got spotters and mirrors, and it helps it a lot more.
Sure. Now, you did say you had some great sponsors there. Yeah, I know Cardinal Fabricating. Who else is helping you out?
Cardinal Fabricating Corporation, my main sponsor. Poblocki and Sons, Miller Sales and Serve, Transport National, Concours Motors, and Schnucks Racing Engines. They help me out once in a while with stuff too.
But without those guys in the pit area.
Oh, yeah, no, they're awesome. I couldn't do it without them either. They help me out week in, week out. Come to the shop 3 times a week. And actually, I guess the main guy is my dad. Love him to death. He's the guy that takes care of me, and I try to take care of him.
Did he kind of steer you into this thing?
He did. Yeah, he put me in the direction to go racing, and he loved it just as much as I do, and probably couldn't do it without each other.
And a lot of family support then?
Oh yeah, Yeah, everybody's
So-
behind us.
And it's going to be very rewarding for him to see you do well and to win that big race at Lake Geneva, as you pointed out.
Yeah, I think he climbed over the fence in the pits.
I think I remember that. There was a little discussion on the radio at Lake Geneva about some Yahoo climbing the fence. And
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on about it, and all of a sudden I look over at my dad, I'm like, whoa. But, he was happy. He needed that, too.
It's great. But, from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, now the mechanical problems to the win at Lake Geneva, the gradual progression.
I know, we're going in next year full force.
You betcha.
Looking forward to it.
Hey.
A lot of momentum.
Now, you got a lot of strong guys out there to beat, though. And you got guys like Gudenek, Little Speedy. You got Swan. Swan's looking for a ride, though. If he gets one, you're going to be in big trouble.
Kick. We got him.
Now,
Preetzel's my guy that scares me, though.
really?
Yeah, Preetzel's good. He's fast. No, these guys are awesome. We beat anybody. We're so competitive and so tight that if anybody has a setup one day, they're going to win. And whoever can keep it consistent week in, week out without mechanical problems, it's a championship.
Now, you did mention Preetzel scares you. What is it that scares you?
He's old enough to be my dad, I guess. I don't know. I have a lot of respect for him that way.
Well, we'd have to say Wiley track veteran or just really old guy.
Okay, veteran.
Veteran? We're going to go with veteran?
Sure.
I believe he's going to be here later, so we can talk about him now. So.
Yeah, okay.
Now, I tell you what, if you needed to do one thing this year just to improve your points finish, besides consistency, you did a great job all year. If it wasn't for the consistency, where do you think you would have finished?
Wasn't for the consistency, I would have finished probably like 8th, 9th, 10th. Because I always qualified very well, but coming through the pack was my problem. But probably like 10th, 12th, I would have finished without the consistency.
Now you mentioned the qualifying. It takes a very special effort to qualify your car. Do you put yourself in a special mindset before you get out there to qualify? Or?
Yeah, I just let it hang out and go and just run.
Just stand on it.
Yeah, just let it hang out. I don't care if I wreck. Just let it go.
3 fast times, yeah. And the bad thing, though, is if you wreck during qualifying, there's no one there to see it.
True, but that's all right.
That's okay,
Yeah.
because it's still spectacular.
Right.
Okay, as long as you go out and ball of fire, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now, next year, you're really looking forward to getting out there and run, starting off there at Cedar Rapids?
Oh, yeah. Called Speedy Downs? Not anymore. Somebody else will take it. Probably not me, because I don't run very well there.
Putting it on record right now, opening race winner, going to beat Little Speedy. So now we do have that on tape, so now we're going to hold you to it. What do you think? You get $10?
Yeah, I'll go
Okay.
10.
Go 10.
Sure.
$10.
Don't have to win, just want to
Me
beat
and
him.
Josh. Okay. No, you got to win now for $10.
All right, we'll try.
Okay.
Give it our best effort.
Well, Josh, I really appreciate you being here today.
Thanks for having me down here.
Hey, it's great. We really look forward to seeing you next year. And I know personally I look forward to seeing you 3 times Lake Geneva. You going to be able to back up that win at the Fall Classic, you think?
I hope so. I'm going to try. Give it my best effort.
Hey, fantastic. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
And coming home, your winner, first career win for him is going to be the 05, Josh Bauer. Coming for second, 14 seconds in total, and a 60.
We're here with Bobby Gudenek, driver of the number 10 Oak Creek Automotive Pontiac Grand Prix. Bobby, I tell you what, a hustling season last year. Where'd you finish up in points?
We ended up finishing 4th in the point standings. We had a really good year. We won 3 races and had some good finishes. It just we ran up at Elkhart Lake, and that kind of killed me up there. I broke qualifying, so I lost a lot of points there, and then we broke in the feature also, so then I lost all the points we could get there. So that's what kind of put me back there.
Oh, it's a difficult place to run. 4 miles of fun, they call it, but it wasn't much fun for you.
No, not that day. It is fun. It's not my favorite track to go to, but it is fun to go up there and do it. But if they eliminated it, it wouldn't hurt me either.
Once a year is more than enough.
Yeah. Now this year we got to do 2 of them, so we'll have to see what the other one's going to be like. It's not as big, so maybe a little bit more fun too.
What is your favorite track?
I'd have to say Kaukauna, or when we do get to go to Milwaukee Mile, because you're close to home. But I like Kaukauna. I always have ever since we went up there. I used to go up there years ago with Dennis Lattman back in the late 70s and early 80s. We used to go up there on Thursday nights too, and so I've seen the place for a long time, and I always couldn't wait to get up there to race it. So it's been fun.
Traveling around with Gentle Giant, that had to be a blast.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of good stories to tell there, but that's another day. But Dennis taught me a lot of stuff. I helped out Alan Kowicki too for a few years, and he taught me a lot of stuff. And I started racing. I quit for 2 years, or I raced for 2 years, and I quit for 3, and went with these other guys and learned a lot of stuff. And I came back and raced Hales Corners for another 8 years after that. But after I was done, I knew I wanted to move on to asphalt also. And a good friend of mine had an asphalt car. He said, "Well, before you build one, why don't you just take my car and go try it?" And it was Ron Fryer, and so he took his car down to Rockford to Bahama Brackets, and there was like 104 cars, and I qualified 5th and finished 4th. And I says, "Yeah, I like asphalt." That's why we built the car after that. Then.
So now, what is the major difference between running on dirt as opposed to asphalt?
Well, the dirt, you're sliding more, and you got to have a good control of a slide when you're driving the car. In asphalt, you don't want to slide. You want to be going around the corner with all 4 wheels going the same direction. But the dirt taught me a lot of experience that if you do get loose on the asphalt, I can drive out of it. You don't get out of gas, you stay on the gas, and you drive out of the spin. And so it did give me some advantages of it, but the traveling part of the asphalt that we get to do in the asphalt series is much more fun, and it's affordable. Our series that we have is very affordable to run. So.
The Mid-American Series is really tough. A lot of great competition out there.
It is. I mean, the top 10, there's probably 12 cars that go to every race, and the top 10 are, any given week, they could win a race. I mean, the 3 that I won, yeah, 2 of them I won from starting from the front of the racetrack, but 1 was I started in the middle. But any one of these guys are great, and it's a lot of fun to race with. They're like one big family. I mean, if you break, everybody helps each other out. If you need a part, you can go ask the other guy. He'll borrow it to you. They ain't going to say, "No, you're done. You put it in the trailer." Everybody helps you out. It's a big family. I know these guys better than I know my real family, because I spend more time with them during the summertime. So.
Now, how does that affect your family, though, being involved in racing so much?
I'm very lucky. Almost all my pit crew members are family or very close family members, and who doesn't come in the pits to help seem to come up in the grandstand. So I do get to see my family pretty much through the summer season. They're almost all at the races, either helping or up in the stands watching. So I do get to see pretty much of my family.
Well, it's great that you got that support. And I know you got some great sponsors on board with you.
Yeah, we do. One of my best sponsors I have is right down the road here. It's On the Border, it's Showgirl Entertainment in Franklin here. And then, of course, Oak Creek Automotive. And we have a couple of them out of the Rockford area that help me out when we do the Rockford races or the southern races down there. And then also Daryl here with the movie thing here, he helps us out too a little bit.
Oh, that's great. Now, how you think you're going to do next year?
Oh man, we took our car back up to Rand-A-Car. We changed a couple things in the car. Snooks is my engine builder, which is one of my better sponsors also. He's redoing our motors, redoing a couple things in them, and Speedy finished 3rd in the points, but he was one of our fastest guys all season, and he's going to be tough to beat. And if James doesn't come back, well, no, we're going to lose one good competitor there. But I hope he finds a ride, gets back with us, because it's a lot of fun to race with him. But I just want to finish in the top 5. I'd love to win the championship. If we win, it's great. But finishing in the top 5, you still accomplished a lot, because the guys are all good that we race against every week.
That's right. Now, you've already heard Josh Bauer go on record as saying that he is going to put everyone down at Cedar Rapids.
Well, Speedy just gave me $20 to take him out, so.
Oh, there you go. All right. I could probably round you up, get a little more for you, so we make it worth your while. So.
No, that's what's nice about racing with these guys. We all race good and clean. We can race side by side. We trust each other, and that's what makes this series so nice. Is that we know how everybody else runs and runs good and close, and yeah, once in a while we have a couple of accidents. You do brush up against each other, but it's still just a good, clean race, and it's a lot of fun. We don't wreck a lot of equipment, doesn't spend a lot of money that way.
Sure. Now, the competition level has progressed over the years.
Oh, yeah. I'm going in my 8th year, and since from when I started, when Eddie Hoffman was the big king there, there was only a handful of cars that were good and fast. Now, anybody can win a race. I mean, there's no secrets. Everybody knows what we all got. We all share with each other. So there's nothing to hide. We all have the same thing. So any day that you have the best, your stagger came out, your chassis is just right, you're going to go to the front and win the race. So it just matters who's got the best day that day.
Now, you mentioned you're running that Rand-A-Car chassis.
Yeah, this is my 5th year going on that Rand-A-Car, and I'm very happy with it. And Jim just, like you said, he just made a couple changes on it, not much actually. We added 2 tubes to the car, and that's it. It fit back in the jig after 4 years. And I could never do that in the Hales Corners days at dirt, and have a car fit back in the jig. So to race that clean with everybody and never wreck nothing that bad and put it back in there and fit, that's a win and a loan.
Oh, for sure.
That way.
For sure. Now you're going to be bringing the same car back out after those modifications?
Yep. Same car, just revamping everything, just checking everything all over, a couple bushings changed here and there and that, and Just go out and have fun.
So the consistency should be really important to you then.
It should be.
Just carry over the same momentum on to next year.
Yep.
Now,
And, okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just gonna say that through the year I had 2 engines, and my engine builder wanted me to have this one engine in. I kept saying, boy, I think we should have the other one in. We kept renting it out to everybody, and everybody's out qualifying me or whatever else. And I'm like, finally at the end of the year, I says, let's put it back in. And Sean Updahl actually had the motor, and we swapped back. I gave him the one I was running. He took the one back, and we proved that we out qualified better than 3 races that we had it in there. So I'm convincing him to let me run that motor right away this season.
So that should start you off on a high note at Cedar Rapids.
I hope so. Yeah, I can't wait to get down to Cedar Rapids. That's another fun track to be at, half mile. It seems like the bigger the track, the better it is. 141 is not one of my favoriteest ones, but I want up there. So I don't know. It's Matt has a nice racetrack up there. He came a long way from when we first went up there. So, and I guess he's changed the pits all around. So maybe it's even be better this year when we get up there. But I can't wait for the season to start. It seems like we're going to have a shorter season this year, so we might have to do some more local racing around here to do something over the off weekends, but unless Gary can get some more races in for us. But 14 races is long enough for a season for us.
Now you mentioned you like the big tracks better, it seems like. Why is that?
You just have more time, and the people that aren't maybe as good, they have more time to realize what they're doing, so you're more comfortable racing with the other people that don't race with us all the time, because when we go to the bigger tracks, we do seem to get more other people to race with us, and that we don't race with every time. So you have more time to react to what's going on, and I just like the speed. At first when I left Hales Corners, I thought, boy, big tracks, I'm gonna be, actually the bigger it is, the easier it is to drive.
Now you're looking to move up in the future, maybe to super late model?
I'd like to. We really almost talked about doing it this year, but my business here is really good, but I have to concentrate so much on my business of Oak Creek Automotive that I couldn't give 100% to a late model, and not knowing a lot about it, I couldn't really take and give it the whole effort to it. The Mid-America car, I've been here long enough, it's getting easier and easier to do it, so I'm going to stay here where it's comfortable right now, and if my business gets easier and I got more people around my business where I can devote more time to a late model, yeah, I'd like to move up. But right now we're going to stay right where we're at, and we're having fun. And with these guys that we race against, it's a great bunch of guys.
Now the business is very important to you.
Well, yeah, I need the business to keep myself going here. So I've been in business for 13 years, and it's a very good business. But you spend so many hours on that, you don't get to devote enough time to a race car. And I have a good group of guys that work on my car that, even when we do work on the car, most of the time I'm still doing shop work, and they're working on the race car.
Well, Bob, we wish you the best of luck next year, and we look forward to seeing that beautiful number 10 that you put out every week. With best of luck to you, Bob. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We're here with Little Speedy Hernandez, driver of the number 66 Chevrolet Monte Carlo, the Speedy's Automotive Chevrolet. Now, you had a fantastic year.
I sure did. I couldn't complain compared to what we had the year before. We had our older chassis. We just went out there and see what we could do, get the feel of everywhere we're going. And once we got that down, the next year we just bought a new chassis, Bill Speed Shop chassis with a Rizzuti racing engine motor in it. And it was just like right on the money from the get-go.
Now, you came out of the box strong.
Oh, yes, we did. I couldn't complain. That Cedar Rapids is a beautiful track. Beautiful. I can't say nothing about that place.
And you can't wait to go back.
Oh, yes, I can. I want to go there. If I go there right now, I would. Because I want to go back there. I seen Josh's interview, and I see what he wants to do. So, hey, we got to see what he's all about. He's got one chassis just like mine now.
Now, Bobby, you slipped Bobby a 20?
I plead the fifth on that one.
You're going to take the fifth on that
Yeah,
one?
I'm going to take the fifth on that one.
Now, how many wins did you pick up this year
I picked up 4 wins, 1 with the truck cars at Cedar Rapids.
at Cedar Rapids?
Yeah.
Now, that's great. Now, you're going to be able to build on that for this year?
Hey, you know what? There's a lot of new chassis going out there, and I know a couple guys that got Bill Speed Shop chassis, and I know all about them. They some hot dogs, but I can't leave Bobby out. I can't leave Bill out. Them guys are always up there beating on me every day.
Now, Bill Nippenberg, he really helps you guys out down
Oh,
there.
can't say nothing wrong about the guy. Always helped me out. Got a chassis that's just easy to work with. I can't say nothing wrong. It's fast. Fast right out of the box. So I couldn't do nothing wrong.
That's great. Now, you are one of the few guys from Illinois that are running as strong as you are up there in that Mid-Am series.
Hey, just got to go and do what I got to no matter where I'm from. I stay with Bobby a lot, so sometimes I'm in Wisconsin. So I say I live in Wisconsin, Illinois deal. So
You're kind of an adopted cheesehead.
yeah,
then,
you know how it is. You know, adopted cheesehead.
Now, you're getting around a little bit. Now, you had a great year this year. You had those 4 wins. You gonna be able to pick up 5 next year, maybe take championship?
That's what I'm going to try for. The first year I ran the whole series, my goal was to finish top 8, top 10. I did it. I finished 8th. This past year was I wanted a top 5. I got 3rd with a chance, almost with a championship. So we're going to run one more year in the Mid-America Series and give it all we got and see what we can do.
Now, where'd you start racing at?
I started racing quarter midgets when I was 4 years old, traveling with my dad, my mom, my brother. We raced for a little while in that, and then we stopped that. And then I just went with my dad and helped other people racing, and then I started racing at Raceway Park in Blue Island when I was 14.
Now, Raceway Park. Now, that's a tough place to run.
Oh yes, I got it's tight track, really tight track. It'll make your reflexes work every which way you can.
Now, they call it a 1/4 of a mile, but I believe it's a little closer to a 5th. It's tight, short.
It really, only one lane there. You one or the other. You gotta use that finesse of passing somebody without taking them out, but give them a little nudge.
Now, I know you ran over at Grundy as well.
I did run over there. I ran late models over there for a couple years, and we did pretty good, but it was hard with the money situation. So we ran there, and then we figured, hey, we'll try something to just keep our feet wet racing. So we grabbed the Mid-America car and started to do something in there.
Now, the financial end of it, the Mid-Am Series, a little bit cheaper car for you?
Yeah, you could say it is, but it's not. You know, last year we only had one sponsor that wasn't really big, so we just do what we can. We did the best we can. If, you know, to run up front, you got to make sure you got the right equipment, or these guys will run you over.
Now, to finish out 3rd, though, as you said, against competition with Gutenecht and with James Swan, Bill Preetzel, you just got to be really pleased with where you finished out the season.
I can't complain. I mean, this is my 2nd full season in Mid-America, and the people are phenomenal in it. They make you feel right at home. You don't have to worry about coming there and thinking that, am I going to be all right in this deal? If I'm not, are they going to welcome me? If they're not, they just welcome you like you're part of the family.
Now, you did have some problems at the end of the year, though.
Yeah, we did. We're like Milwaukee Mile, our coil. We thought the module went bad, but it was a coil went bad. We run a second run against Mike Monroe. We just wanted to, me and him had a couple times side by side, and you know, it's always clean, but we thought we were going to get one good one out of there, but it didn't happen.
Now, you had problems at Lake Geneva during the Fall Classic as well.
Yeah, we had one that time. We tried to avoid somebody who was coming up our lane, and reaction was faster than I thought, and it ended up in the barrels, and it just tore the car up pretty good.
Now, you made the repairs, though, had the car back over to Bill's?
We didn't really, we measured it up, and Bill said that everything was okay, and we went out, and it was just fast as it was before, so we just said, hey, we're all right. I guess we could do something right here.
Now, if you had aspirations and hopes to do something in your racing career, what would that be?
You know, everybody sits there and wants to be a star, wins the cup, but I just like to keep on moving as much as I can, as high as I can. I mean, if I could go late model, we're thinking about that next year, but we're going to really focus in on this year, but just do what we can with what we have.
And what's your favorite track?
Ooh, there's a bunch of them.
Besides Cedar Rapids.
You know what, I like Milwaukee Mile. It's really nice getting up there, running pretty good, running really fast, and Cedar Rapids is another one. Lake Geneva, I don't mind. You know, it's just all the tracks I like them. You know, I mean, you just got to get used to them. That's all.
Right. And what did you think about running that road course up at Elkhart Lake?
You know, I didn't really like that when I watched it on TV, but then when I did, I was like, this ain't too bad. I had fun, and even if, you know, you got Bill Preetzel over there. He's a hot dog there. You know, every time I see him run, there's a couple times he went by me, knowing I had, you know, transmission problems, but I knew he was a hot dog there, so I just tried to watch what he could do, but just learned myself too. That's all you could do.
Now, you've got to look at Bill Preetzel and just, you know, the years of experience he's had as opposed to yourself with only a couple in the Mid-Am Series. Do you try and learn a lot from the other drivers?
Made me feel good when I won at Cedar Rapids, the first race of the year, and he was behind me, and I was like looking in the mirror, and I was like, he ain't catching me, so this is an accomplishment, beating someone that's a veteran in this series. You know, makes you feel like you're beating a Dale Earnhardt in this series, and he's really good.
Make you a little nervous when he was up underneath you?
I just try the best I can to get in front of him and see how far I can get before he starts hunting me down, if he's gonna hunt me down.
Yeah, there you go. Now, the technology has come so far in this series and this sport in itself. Did you have any problems adapting to that?
Not really, because I got a lot of friends and a lot of people that helped me. You know, I got Bobby Gutenecht that made me feel right at home in his deal. He just, you know, that's really one guy I really got to know right off the bat, and ever since then, it's like we've been best of friends. And I mean, it can't go wrong. I mean, he's gave the shirt off his back if he had to.
Now, you mentioned friendships. You know, what makes the sport so conducive to that?
Everybody knows that we're all traveling, and nobody wants to go nowhere to have enemies, you know, conflicts, something like that, because nobody wants to drive all that way to have somebody wreck somebody because they're mad. So we all want to just have fun, race. Everybody knows what they're doing. They want to go race clean. Everybody wants to win. Whatever you finish, load the cars up, and everybody's back to square one, all friendship.
Sure. Now, does the traveling get to you after a while?
Not really. I have fun just meeting new people, like everybody in the series, like I said. Just traveling, see everything, different tracks. Running these different tracks is an experience you can't find nothing else to do. You run all these different tracks and you get better and better when you go back.
Sure. Now, I think I met you 4 or 5 years ago when you run that late mile down Grundy, and I was immediately impressed on your personality. You were more than willing to stand there and talk. We must have talked for 20 minutes. And the first time we met, you're a very personal guy. You're going to try and translate that into, off-track experience?
You know what? I look at it this way. I mean, your fans, your friends are always going to be there. You can't be mad or whatever. If you run a bad night, everybody understands what's going to happen, what's happened, but you can't be mean to nobody. Everybody's out there. You could have fans out there rooting you on, but if you treat them wrong, they might not want to root you on no more. So, and when I met you, we just hit it off and did BS, and that was about it. And then everything was going on since then.
Now, I know that everyone wants to know, Little Speedy, of course there is a Big Speedy.
There sure is.
Where did this all come from?
Big Speedy was when he was racing back in his days. He worked at a gas station right across the street from Raceway Park, and he started racing, but he didn't want my grandma to find out, so he couldn't go under his real name, so he made his name Speedy Gonzalez. And it didn't last too long, because the next day my uncle told on him that he's racing, so ever since then it stuck with him.
And that's why Speedy Gonzalez is on the side of every car you've ever
Yeah,
had?
yeah, that's just our trademark, My dad's Speedy Gonzalez, they call me Little Speedy, and my crew members, I can't say nothing bad. Them guys really put the car to make it fast. I mean, you could do all the homework at the garage. You got the majority of it done at the garage, but when it comes to the racetrack, you got to make sure everything's ready to go.
Working on it at home and not at the track.
That's right. I got a female on my team named Jackie, and she's just phenomenal on those tires. And I'll tell you one thing, I can always confident when I get in the car, my tire stagger is going to be right on the money. I mean, sometimes you hit the setup right, sometimes you don't, but the tires I know we're always on. Then I got a friend of mine, they call him the Greek, named Tommy. He's a little go-getter. He runs around, do what I got to do unless I got to look for him. Sometimes he hangs around Bauer and crew too much. That's why I told Bauer and Bobby's parked right next to me, so I ain't got to go far to look for them.
It's because Josh has got all the girls hanging out by him.
Yeah, he can keep the girls. I keep the wins.
There you go. That's the important part. I'm going to be looking to put Josh down one spot down there at Cedar Rapids.
Okay.
Looking to back that up.
Yeah, he don't know I'm going to put a little more hot sauce in that gas tank, and we're going to the front right away.
There you go.
He don't know what he's got coming from. See, but I know he's got a Bill Speed shot chassis, like I said, so I can't leave him out. He might be the one. You never know. But with this series, it could be anybody. It's like there was not. I mean, some guys got 3 wins, 4. I'm lucky I got 4. Bobby won his share. Pritza won his share. Swan won his share. Just that could happen to anybody.
It seems like it was pretty evenly distributed between the top runners in the series.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I can't leave Jimmy Backrod. He won up there in Plover, and then you got Rod Brew, who won at Road America. That was a good accomplishment there, beating Dick Trickle. He's a little hot dog up there. So it's just anybody could be anywhere at any time.
Yeah, and Mike Monroe, you've had some great races with Mike.
Mike, I'll tell you one thing, me and him run side by side so many times, and I mean, if we touched, it was just barely, but I mean, he's one guy that I wish we could have went. I don't know if we're going to Milwaukee or not, but I wish he was there again. I'd like to try that one more time with him and see if I could do it.
Yeah, we hope that race is back on the schedule again next year. I know the Mid-American Series officials are working on that with the Milwaukee Mile, and hopefully we can put that back together so you can run with Mike again. Now, Mike, he's been around forever. Another one of those drivers with a lot of experience. As your experience level progresses, are you going to get better?
Hey, I mean, I hope so, because it looked like I did in 1 year, but that was, like I said, the chassis setup, the motor. I mean, Rizzuti Racing Engines, I can't say nothing about those motors. They were some horses in them bad dogs. So we just got to do what we got to do to keep on, making ourselves better and better every year. You learn more every year. Go back there and you see if you could just, better yourself where you went to the last year from the year before.
Engine's very important in this series as well as any racing series, but chassis as well. Now, you've alluded to both. What do you think really takes a major focus?
Oh, it's just, just got to go out there. If you want to win a championship, we got to qualify good. And we had a little problems qualifying, but that's probably just me because I'm a little conservative, but then I'm not, But then, I mean, I just put the chassis back to where it was, the motor the same way, and all we could do is progress on that deal. I mean, just get better and better. I mean, I can't get no better than what the horsepower I got now in the chassis. I could just tweak a little more here and there and just, try to get up front where I was. And those ones, the feature ones I won, we were there already, but the ones I didn't or ran 4th, 3rd, or whatever, I'm going to try to better those.
Sure, not being conservative during qualifying, where does that come from?
You're just used to that because, you know, a lot of times we have a majority of our series guys running with us, but then you get some outsiders in there just to try running with us, and you haven't raced with them before. But when we run the regulars, you know how they are. You know, they're clean. They know they're not going to make no wrong moves. I'm not saying they're not, but everybody knows who's when, why, where, and how. And everybody runs side by side. Everybody knows how I drive, Bobby drives, Bill. Everybody just watch each other, and we
It's
just
a matter
know.
of being comfortable. Right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're comfortable, then you know you could drive good, and everybody could drive side. That's why we have good races, because we drive side by side, and everybody's next to each other. You know, they're going at it.
Well, I'm sure that, you know, if you do make that decision to move up into the super late model ranks, that you'll be sorely missing this series. Now, do you think that at some point that you want to move on further than that, to ASA maybe?
If I can, if the money situation is, or we get the backing, I'd give it a shot. You don't know unless you try. You know, and then when I bought this Mid-America car, the one before this one, I didn't know what I was going to be able, if I was going to be able to go run a series and be competitive. But like I said, you know, knowing Bobby and everybody else, they just made me feel right at home. And if I needed anything, they were right there to help me. So it just, everybody's there to give a helping hand, because we know everybody's going there to run a race, and nobody wants nobody to go home.
It's great. And I know we really look forward to seeing you again next year. And I know we look forward to seeing you at the 3 events at Lake Geneva. And I'm hopefully going to be able to get out some more maybe next year, and we're going to see you guys run.
Hey, I hope so. We're going to give it all we got for next year.
Great. And, you know, look out for Bauer, okay?
Yeah, I know I'm gonna look out for him. I know what we got going for at Cedar Rapids the first race. But just remember, we got to go back there the second time too.
You betcha. Speedy, thanks for being here today.
Hey, thank you very much. I
everything from you.
appreciate it.
Contact between top two. Monroe again with the advantage on turn 2, but Hernandez uses that horsepower. Down into turn 4, keep an eye on the stripe. Oh, Hernandez gets a little loose in. Oh, 2 for Comcast, looked at the score.
We're here with Bill Preetzel, the Franklin Flyer, finishing up second in the Mid-American points this year. Driver of number 5, Dodge. Bill, you had a fantastic season this year.
We had a wonderful year up till the last couple nights. It was a great year. Just didn't turn out quite the way we wanted, but yeah, it was a real good year.
Now, you had a bunch of good wins.
Yeah, we ran good all year. We had a bunch of fast times. We won at 141. We won at Kaukauna. It was just, and if we didn't win, we were right near the front, except for about 3 races, and that's, you got to be up there all the time. And James was just a little more consistent than we were.
Sure, and you had one big problem out there at La Crosse.
Yeah, that was a real problem.
Quite a ride?
Yeah, it was not good. Backed it into turn 1 pretty hard and ended up on our roof. Wrecked the car pretty good, and that's just part of racing. You accept it and you go on. You don't want it to happen, but it certainly does.
Now, was that a matter of just the car getting loose, or was there contact?
No, there was definitely contact.
Okay.
It was an incident that happened that shouldn't have, and a person that doesn't normally race with us got together with us, and we ended up getting the worst end of the deal, but part of racing.
But the important thing is that you're okay and that the car is repairable.
The car is repaired, yeah, we're putting it back together. I wasn't even sore the next day, so the car held up real well. The cage didn't move at all, and then both ends of the car got bent up, but the cage itself didn't move at all.
Now, what style chassis do you have underneath that?
Larry Richards built that in '94, so that car is fairly old. We've redone it a couple times, and we cut off quite a bit of the stuff that was bent this time and redid it again, so actually this is like the 3rd overhaul on this car.
Now, that's Richard's race cars up there in Montello, right?
Yep.
Great. Have you been working with him long?
He built the first Mid-America car I had, and then he built this one, which is the second one. Larry and I go back a lot of years racing together at Hales, and you know, Bobby was at Hales too, and Larry was there, and Larry's built a lot of cars, and just I decided when I was going to Mid-America, he was building some of them, so called him up and told him to build me one.
Now, you're another one of those drivers that started out on dirt. What year did you start racing?
73.
73. You know, I was all of 5 years old at that time.
Well, we all got to start somewhere, and I started at Hales in 73, and ran all dirt until basically 92, and then in 93 we went to Mid-America, and we ran some dirt. And my second Mid-America car, then when we built the second car, we put the first one back on dirt, went to Hales, and we'd run that once in a while. And in 99, I drove a dirt late model for Badger Motorsports for about 8 shows. So we're still keeping our feet wet, but just fun.
Now, you've had a lot of experience over the years. Now, you've gotten to run with guys like Whitey Harris, Al Schill, Scheffler boys. Now, over those years, who was probably your toughest competitor?
Toughest person I ever raced against, and probably a lot of people won't know who it is, was Larry Moore. and that was down south when we used to run speed weeks in Florida. And you know, at the time we were in Florida racing, Billy Moyer, Scott Bloomquist were just starting. Freddie Smith was always real good, and Freddie and his dad were real good. Grassy was a real good guy. But yeah, a lot of people we raced with during speed weeks in Florida, and we'd go to Phoenix City, Alabama every fall, and you just learned a lot by going to different racetracks.
Now that was dirt primarily, right?
All dirt, yeah.
Okay, all dirt.
Yep.
Now making that switch over to asphalt, did you find it difficult at all?
I would say it probably took me 2 good years to get comfortable on asphalt. I didn't think it'd be any big deal, but it was a lot more than I thought it was going to be. It takes, there's nothing the same between dirt and asphalt as far as racing, and Bobby's been on both ends of the deal. Maybe he doesn't think that way, but I do. There's almost nothing the same.
Now if you had to make a choice, if you had to pick one or the other, would you stay on asphalt or go back to dirt?
If it was unlimited finances and I could go racing, we'd be having a dirt late model going and having lots of fun racing.
Now, is it cheaper to run on the asphalt, do you think?
The Mid-America Series is definitely cheaper. The series rules are good. I don't think one guy can outspend another guy. Dirt late model racing has really gotten exotic. There's a lot of money invested in dirt late model racing. But the Mid-America Series is a good series. It's competitive, and we've all basically got the same equipment. We're all using basically the same chassis, although different people are building them. They're good cars, they're good series, and you know, money isn't the end of the world. A lot of guys can be competitive at a fairly affordable price.
Now those cars start off life as a GM metric frame. What adjustments and changes are made to it to make it competitive?
Can't do a lot to the chassis. You know, the front control arms we adjust a little bit. We can move the mounts around a little bit on that. Outside of that, you can't do much to it. It's where you put the weight and the alignment and suspension that you like, I think, because the upper or the lower control arms and all the trailing arms are all stock factory components, so they're basically all the same on everybody's cars. It's just, you know, how much percentages you want on the car for particular racetracks.
Now you mentioned percentages, and maybe some of the people watching aren't familiar with that. Can you explain that a little bit for the fans?
Well, the rule says we can't have any more than 58% left side weight, and it appears in every place I've gone that the more left side weight you can get, the faster the car will work. But 58% is the maximum we can have, so you try and get as close to that as you can. And between the diagonal, which we call between the left rear and the right front, or cross, some people call it, that is, you know, you adjust that a little bit for track conditions if you're particular about how it would feel at a racetrack. But a driver might want a little more on the left rear, a little more on the right front. And there again, I mean, you watch NASCAR on Sunday and they talk about a car pushing and a car loose, and we run into the same condition. If it's, you know, if it's loose or if it's pushing, you usually change diagonal. You might change a spring, but the diagonal basically we would change to make it not to do what you don't want.
It's all a function of handling then.
Right. No, there again, I'm sure Bobby's followed me and I followed Bobby, and there's times when you look at him and you think, man, you can't be any more loose than you are, and then the next time around, it's like, wow, the thing's better. So you get a lap that you might not feel good too sometimes, but it's driver preference on a lot of driving and a lot of the setups.
Sure. Now, we're here with James Swan, driver of the number 97 Chevrolet Monte Carlo, the year 2001 Mid-American Stock Car Champion. James, tell you what, big deal.
Really big deal to me. It's amazing.
Now, you've been around for as long as I remember. I've known you for probably about 10 or 12 years.
Yeah, it'd be 12 years this year. I
Yeah.
started racing in 1990.
In a street stock down at Lake Geneva, right?
Yep.
You and your brother.
Me and my brother, yeah, we built our own cars and wrecked them and everything. It was a lot of fun.
Now, you guys were just having a blast when you first started. I remember seeing you guys every week in, week out, rubbing, banging, beating on each other. But then you go back up in the pit area and you just laughing your tails off.
Yep, we had a lot of fun. I wish I could do it again.
Well, hopefully. Now he's down where? Indiana, I
Yeah.
believe?
Yep.
Okay. We see him once in a while come up the track. Now, you had a great year in Mid-Am Series this year. You had what, 3 wins?
3 wins. Yeah.
3 wins. Now, I know you won at Rockford.
Yep.
You won at Lake Geneva.
Yep.
And the emotion I saw at both events.
I can't explain it. It was awesome. To win at my home track, Lake Geneva. I don't know what could top it.
Climbed out of the car, jumped up and down 3 or 4 times, and ran for the fence.
Yep.
Climbed
Thanks to
up-
you.
Thanks to me. Well, a little bit, I got in trouble for that. But to watch you jump the fence, happy as can be, in your hometown, Lake Geneva. For your fans, you had a lot of family and friends that night there, didn't
Yep.
you?
Yes, I did. Every time I go to Lake Geneva, I've always got a lot of family, a lot of friends. Lake Geneva is my home track, so I got a lot of fans there. A lot of people come and support me, and I've just never been able to win a Mid-American Series race there, or anything pretty much. Just happened to be my night.
And you finally
And if it
put
wasn't for that night, Bobby Gutnick won 4 in a row.
and you finally put it all together.
Yep.
All
finally
the
did.
pieces really came together that night.
Yep, that was a lot of fun.
Now you go out to Rockford too. You win that event. That's got to be as big of a deal for you.
I love Rockford Speedway. Absolutely love it. Got lucky that night, started in front, and pretty much didn't have anybody to contend with. But yeah, I love Rockford. Just love winning, love racing, love the Mid-American Series, love everything about it, love the people, the fans.
Now you're currently looking for another drive this year. I understand that you've kind of dissolved your team with Mark Crandall.
Mark Crandall, my car owner, and I got divorced, yes. I wound up with everything except for the car, so I'm really looking for a car owner to come help me out, and I'm looking to make somebody else a champion.
And what would you be looking for? Sportsman?
I would
Mid-American?
love to stay with the Mid-American Stock Car Series. I love the people. It's gonna hurt me in the heart to not race with them people. I love every one of them people. A lot of people, you talk about people you race against. Well, it's not that way with me. I race with the people in the Mid-American Stock Car Series. It's nothing against other people. It's with the other people, the other drivers, the other teams. We have fun afterwards. We have fun before the races. We have fun during the races. It's just a whole ball that I love the series. I would like to try and stay with them, at least through 2002. At least play the part of champion. I don't know how to do it, but I'll try it.
Now you're currently helping out a couple of late model guys. You're helping out a rookie, and you're helping out Ryan Matthews.
Yeah, Ryan Matthews is a really smart man. I'm hoping I can learn a lot from him, late model experience-wise, and then we'll see what he can do. He's going to run the Mars Series as a rookie this year, and he's got 3 cars, so we're trying to work a deal where maybe I can get into one of those. We'll see.
Maybe a little bonus for you at the end of the season. Huh?
Yeah, maybe. We got to get Ryan going first.
That's good. Now you're looking forward to that experience as well?
Yeah, definitely. I don't have a whole lot of late model experience myself, but everything I can learn, I'm going to take everything I can get.
Well, you do have a little bit at Lake Geneva with Chuck and Sherry Moat in the number 78 car.
Yeah, that was more of a limited late model, 8-inch tires, 2-barrel, stock stub. I don't consider that late model compared to what they are now.
Sure. Now you mentioned the differences. What primarily is the big difference between a limited late model and a super late model?
A lot of it, I think, is the 8-inch tires. The super late models run a 10-inch tire. The limited late models run an 8-inch tire. A lot of the limited late models have a stock Camaro front stub frame section versus the super late models, which are all hand fabricated. And the motors, the super late models run a 4-barrel carburetor. They're a little bit quicker. And I don't really know. I haven't run a whole bunch of them.
Little more closer, the limited late model to the Mid-American car?
Yeah, it's really close.
Do you think that helped you a little bit?
I don't know if it did or not. Everything I've driven except for that limited late model was a metric chassis car. I started off, my street stocks were metric chassis, and the sportsman car is a metric chassis car. So I think I've just adapted to that kind of a car.
Now, if you had to go somewhere, had an opportunity to go to an ASA ride or a super late model ride, you looking for a ride or a championship ride?
That's a tough question.
Those are questions we ask.
If I could run in the Mid-American Series, I would take anything. To move up, I would probably take anything. But to run a local track, it would have to be a championship car. If I would run Lake Geneva only, it would have to be a championship deal.
Now, you're going to be helping out Ken Houston as well, I understand, a little bit next year.
Yeah, I've really come to know Ken Houston through Mark Crandall. He's a really nice guy. He's really devoted. I think if with a little reins, if we put the reins to him, I think we can keep him under control and have him do good.
Sure.
And I'm looking to help him out, and he accepts any help I can give him. And I like watching people learn. I like helping people.
Sure. Now, you've traveled the Mid-American Series for the last couple of years. You really enjoy traveling?
I love the traveling. I can't see going back to one track again. It would almost be boring.
Now, you've been to a lot of different tracks. What's your favorite?
What is my favorite? Anything except for 141. I love Cedar Rapids. I love Milwaukee. The Chicago Mile down in Cicero. Rockford. I love Rockford. I like them all.
Tell-
Anywhere that's asphalt and banked, I can.
You know what I'm going to ask you. Tell us about 141.
There's somebody that isn't looking over me there. I've been there 6 or 7, 8 times. I've got a really good car running there, racing there, but something always happens. I get caught up in a wreck. I cause a wreck. Break apart, broke a fuel pump, running second, going for the lead. Got caught up in a wreck, running second, going for the lead. Just a bunch of different things that just luck never goes my way there.
Now, this year you run through the course of the season. Really competitive. You start off, you run good at Cedar Rapids. You win that race at Lake Geneva. You win Rockford. You go to La Crosse. And I talked to you just before La Crosse, and you said it's over. I got no chance.
It was over 3 weeks before. It was over at Francis Creek at 141 Speedway when I got caught up in a wreck. I saw Jan Preetzel, Bill Preetzel's wife, at the Enduro at Lake Geneva the following Monday after Francis Creek. And I told her congratulations. I really thought it was done because I had lost 73 points that night. I thought there's no way I could make that up. But especially as good as, and consistent as Bill Preetzel is, I didn't think I could do it. And then we go to Rockford the following week, and Bill had his problems. And that pretty much made both of those races a wash for either one of us. He gained points at Francis Creek. I gained the same amount of points back at Rockford. So it kind of worked it all out, and I just figured if I could run consistent and do what I had to do, I thought maybe I'd have a chance again, but never expected it.
Now, when they came across the radio and told you that Bill had his problems,
They didn't. They came across the radio on a backstretch and said there was a wreck in turn 2. We were coming around to get the checkered flag. So I lifted, slowed down, and there was a car behind me that must not have had a radio or didn't see the lights, whatever, but didn't slow down and drove right past me. So I was kind of mad at the people on the radio. I said some things I probably shouldn't have said at the guy on the radio, but I come around and seen a car upside down in turn 2, and I told them, because they didn't tell me who it was, they couldn't even see it from where they were standing. I told them it was Bill, and didn't know how they were going to score the race because the wreck happened on the last lap. Didn't know if they would score from the white flag or if they would score from the checkered flag. Didn't know how far back he was at the white flag. I knew where I was, and I didn't know. Didn't know I'd won a championship. I didn't know it until the Sunday I got home and looked on the internet.
Swan in turn 3. James Swan out of Lake Geneva. Coming out of turn 4 to the checker. Kellen out of second. Third to the exit Mike Monroe. Fourth to Pete Hernandez.
We also want to thank Bobby Gutnick for his help in putting together this program. And we want to thank Bobby for letting us use his shop, Oak Creek Automotive in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. For Midwest Motorsports Review, this is Daryl Franklin. We'll see you next week.